Okay, another Conquest match. This time I'm rolling as Greenskins with Skarsnik, probably one of my all-time favorite lords, against my opponent who's playing Bretonnia with Fey Enchantress. I noticed right at the beginning that they've only got a couple units of cav and they have some catapults, so I decide to just kind of sit tight because I've got my Doom Divers, which should be able to handle his sorry, not catapults, trebuchets, how dare I. So I just get my Doom Divers to start pounding his trebuchets, and you can see they are pretty immediately effective. He returns fire. He does a little bit of damage to some of my goblins and also my Doom Diver crews, but nothing too major. My next worry is his cavalry. I need to try and protect these Doom Divers for as much as I can so I can get those trebuchets offline. I'm really worried about these Royal Pegasus Knights, but I have a little trick for him if they come in. He charges with his Grail Guardians into my archer line. I'm not super worried about that. These are all just really cheap goblin archers. I swarm him with some of my infantry, spears and stuff. Chase him off, but not too worried. I think at this point I was hanging back waiting for these guys to engage, because that's what I was really worried about. These Royal Pegasus Knights are really nasty. Anti-large, just high stats, high damage, and good damage resistance. So they would do a lot of damage to some stuff I have in my army. I think I misclicked my archer line to attack them and realized it, and I was like, oh shit, yeah, okay, move those back. I charge in with my Orc Boy Biggins, try and do some damage to Grail Guardians. I think we kind of trade some cycle charges. Okay, and then he's got his Pegasus Knights coming in, but Skarsnik has Rampage, so I Rampage the Pegasus Knights into Skarsnik and his giant friend, and then I buff the giant's anti-large damage with Skarsnik's Spite of the Bad Moon, and then just pile on him. And look at that damage. And this is a really expensive unit. It's like $2,000 or something. Granted, I'm using a lot to take it down, but basically just completely shut that unit down immediately. I love Skarsnik for that. Rampage is so strong, and it debuffs their melee defense, I believe. Yes. So if you hit a unit with that and get them onto a pile of stuff that they don't want to be touching, it can be a bad day for them, and it definitely was there. I think they come back a couple more times, but they're pretty much a non-threat for the rest of the game. So still got my Doom Divers. I think I had to take them off of one of the catapult crews, or the trebuchet crews, because they were falling back, but I reorganized my lines a little bit. We're still kind of skirmishing in there. I think that my opponent does a big comet here, but I'm not super worried about it because it is really cheap spearmen. I mean, sucks to lose units like that, but these guys are like 300 gold each, so not a huge loss. And I try and reform my line again. I still have my trolls. My Orc Boy Biggins are still mostly fine. Here's the Royal Pegasus Knights coming back in. And I just keep my Doom Divers working on stuff. I think eventually I switched them to Fey Enchantress. Yeah, they've already hit her a couple times. I think I finish off these trebuchets because I noticed them are firing again. So boom, all the trebuchets are gone. I will switch my Doom Divers onto Fey Enchantress, make my opponent kind of pay a little bit of a micro attack. Speaking of micro attacks, I totally miss micro these guys, let them chase into my enemy's lines. And now you'll notice I don't have the point. I'm really not worried about it. I'm just content to let my Doom Divers sit back and work, because they don't have a lot of really beefy infantry, and they only have those 2 big cavalry units. They keep healing these Grail Guardians. I do damage to them, they bring them back, they heal them again. But basically, once Fey Enchantress is gone, the leadership of these peasant units really drops. So my game plan is just kind of hopefully snipe Fey Enchantress, and then I can push these guys off the point pretty easily. And as you can see, my Doom Divers continue to work. So my opponent realizes this, and now they start to kind of move Fey Enchantress back and forth to try and dodge the Doom Divers a little bit. And now I'm moving some of my faster cav around to the rear to get ready to hit into their archer line as I move my main force forward here. I think we finish off the Pegasus Knights here. Yep, boom, they're dead. We'll see their value later, but I'm pretty sure they were not able to really do anything. They get pretty much shut down. The Grail Guardians ended up doing a little better, but I'm okay with them being here and getting the heals, because then my opponent had less healing or less magic available for healing Fey Enchantress. So she falls back a bit. I'm like, all right, time to move in. I needed to grab my boss group a little faster, but I move in with my main infantry line. I don't have much left, but these trolls are pretty strong. They can plow through just about any of these weaker peasant infantry. I just need to shut down these fire archers, which I do with my Goblin Wolf Riders right there. So trolls charge in, big charge. Oh yeah. And then the Goblin support. That's a comet coming in from Fey Enchantress. I think it messes up these Goblin Spears pretty bad, but my trolls managed to mostly dodge. Actually, both units kind of made it out okay there. So we're pushing in. We're doing fine. Doom Divers continue to fire. He's getting smart to it. He wants to go after the Doom Divers. I get my Orc Boy Biggins on him, and then I decide to use my boss group to finish off these Grail Guardians, or at least mess them up a little bit. Archers, I should get these archers out of this blob. This is really dangerous, but I think I was focused on something else, obviously. But we're making progress. So my trolls are forced out. They have really poor leadership, but they're not so far gone. I know they'll come back. I just need to remember to grab them. But the Grail Guardians are getting kind of beat up by my boss group, and I finally decide, all right, we need to get our boss group in there. Troll Hag has been continuing to just cast Spirit Leech on Fey Enchantress. Again, if I can get her dead or routing, it's pretty much GG. And I know I'm working against the clock, so I keep trying to do as much damage as possible to them. Doom Divers, again, almost out of ammo at this point, but they have been firing all game, getting great damage and value back. So I start moving my boss group in. I think I had one Rampage left at this point, and I wanted to try and snag Fey Enchantress, but it ended up not even being necessary. So my trolls recover, and they're headed back in. I just start piling everything I can onto the point. Doom Diver has finally got Fey Enchantress broken, or damaged to the point that she starts breaking. And at that point, it's pretty much done. With terror and just how strong these giants are, I just don't think that my opponent has much left to really threaten it. The only worry is if I'm going to have enough time to clear the point off, but I already have better capture weight, so it didn't even matter. Cast the Fate of Bajuna on some archers. Fey Enchantress looks like she's going to be completely gone. It was a little touch and go for a second there, but I believe she breaks here in just a second. Well, the army breaks here. Yeah, there it goes. Army shatters, and that's pretty much it. So, yeah, Skarsnik. He is. Yeah, I love using Skarsnik. That Rampage and his anti-large buff. Plus, he's just a good anti-large fighter himself. He didn't have to do a whole lot this game, but we got some good value, especially out of our Doom Divers. Yeah, look at that, 2k, 1.6k, and they cost 1,000 each, so they definitely both did great. My Orc Boy Biggins got pretty good value, kind of dueling with the enemy Cav, but this is a little deceptive because he kept healing his Grail Guardian. So like they managed to do well. Honestly, their value is less than I thought, but still pretty good. I managed to shut down the trebuchets pretty well. Fey Enchantress, she had more healing than anything, so she did fine. But really what won the game for me was these Doom Divers. They did fantastic. And then just being able to catch the Royal Pegasus. Yeah, Royal Pegasus Knights only got 366 value back, and that they're like a 2 grand unit, so that is pretty devastating. But still, that was a fun match. I'm glad I went with the double Doom Diver. I had a hunch. I think I had queued against this opponent a little earlier in the night, and I had a hunch they would kind of do this, so I built a little bit around it. If they had gone more cavalry, I probably would have been screwed. Being able to shut down their really only big damage dealers really won the game for me. But still, that was a really fun match. Again, Skarsnik, yeah, he love me some Skarsnik games. All right, well, thanks for watching, and on to the next one.